How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Gianluca, aka Dr. Calcagno, and we are going to talk about today why you really don't have to call me that. Okay, so now the truth is it's actually a little bit more complicated than that, but it is an issue that divides people and different people think different ways about it. I'd love to hear your own opinions in the comment section below. And before we get into it, I don't know who's been around YouTube long enough to remember like the early days of medical YouTube where you had people like Dr. Antonio Webb and Dr. Buck Parker, and they would do these kind of off the cuff talking videos as they were driving home from work or whatever. And I think I'm going to try and do that throughout residency every now and then, just talk and share some thoughts, because it'll help me stay consistent and keep getting videos out even when I'm training in residency. And I don't know, I really appreciated that when I was pre-med and then in medical school, someone that just every now and then just kept it real and just gave you some thoughts and had an honest talk with people. So we're going to start with a little story. I remember it was like, I think I was in undergrad at the time, and we had a wedding that we had to go to. And when I got the invitation for the wedding, right on the wedding invitation, it said, "You are cordially invited to Dr. So-and-so and Dr. So-and-so." It was two doctors getting married, but you're invited to the doctor's wedding. And I, at the time, was like, really? You know, not to offend anyone if you've ever done that, if you're one of my colleagues or whatever, but I couldn't understand. Even now, I don't understand why someone would put their honorifics as a doctor on their wedding invitation. It's not something that I could ever picture myself doing, and I don't really see the motivation for it, especially because, you know, for the most part, like, who's coming to your wedding? Like family and friends and things like that. And ever since I graduated medical school, I can't stop getting my friends to stop calling me doctor. It's funny and it's endearing, but you know, like every time we're out, it's like, "Yo, doctor," and I'm like, "Guys, chill, like not here, I'm off the clock," right? And if something happens and everyone knows you're a doctor, then you're going to be the first one to respond, and I would anyways, but I just feel like I don't need to remind my friends of the fact that I'm a doctor, if that makes sense. Now, before we get any further in the talk, I just want to say that the title of doctor is something that I wear so proudly, and even though I'm only in my first year of residency, after having gone through med school and pre-med and the exams and all of this and that. And I think that my job right now as a family medicine resident, becoming a family medicine physician one day, is, if not the best profession in the entire world, it's the profession that suits me the best. And it's something that I'm very proud about. And the point of this video is not to say that I don't want to be a doctor. It's not where I'm heading about this at all. But rather, I guess it gets back to the age-old question of like, are you a doctor all the time? Are you ever really off the clock? And if you are a doctor all the time, I guess that's fine, but do you have to be reminding people all the time that you're a doctor? Do people have to change the way that they look at you because you're a doctor? That's really what I want to have this discussion about. And I remember even being back in medical school, and still now, like if I know a doctor that I've worked with, especially if it's one of the older physicians that I work with, and the town that I'm living in right now is relatively small. It's not a major city like Toronto. So sometimes I could see people outside of the hospital and I will instinctively call them, you know, Dr. So-and-so, instead of walking up and be like, "Yo, Steve," right? It's, you know, Steve is the 56-year-old surgeon that used to work with you, and I don't really feel comfortable about that. And I can get now why people commenting on the videos and people that know me refer to me as doc, and that's fine. And I think, you know, one other thing too is my full name is Gianluca Calcagno, and it's a very Italian name and very uncompromising about it. Like, I do like to be called my name, but it's difficult to remember. And I know even back in like every school that I've ever been in, like none of the admin staff ever gets my name right. Even back in medical school, it was like one of our final OSCE exams and they were doing roll call. And I'm used to people butchering my name, but it was one time where they're taking attendance and the person doing it goes, "Juan Carlos Calangelo." And I was like, what? I normally, if it's close enough, I'll know they're talking about me, but I didn't even raise my hand. I'm like, is there a Juan Carlos here that I've never met before? Now, at work or in the hospital or wherever we are in a professional context, it's a little bit different, right? Like there, to go by Dr. So-and-so, Dr. Calcagno, Dr. G, whatever, is kind of expected. It's just this culture of medicine to call doctors doctors and hospitals and things like that. And I think that's good. And I think a lot of it goes to the whole concept of, the doctor-patient relationship and what that means, and having these boundaries so that we could remain as objective as possible when treating our patients. Because it's one thing, the rule and, in ethics and how this relates to law afterwards is we could develop a very friendly doctor-patient relationship, but it's very, very fine line in that you cannot take your friends as your patients, because when you start looking at people in any other light other than objective, there is always a chance to end up hurting the healthcare that you provide to those patients. You stop looking at people in the most objective way possible, and it's shown, or it's supposedly shown, that your ability to properly diagnose and treat really suffers. So I think it's different in the workplace, and I'm not saying that needs to stop. I guess the final thing is just, as someone new to the profession, really, and as a new title for me, and all my fellow residents out there are probably going through maybe a similar thing. It's just, it takes a while to get used to, and it's definitely not something that I'm shying away for. I just want to say that I don't expect people that aren't my patients to call me doctor, and I'd love to know what your thoughts are about that. I think this is a conversation that I know the new residents have every single year. We had a little talk about it at school with our groups and things like that. And if you want to, out of respect and whatever, it's just easier to say doc instead of Gianluca or Calcagno, right? That it's not going to offend me at all. That's really, really nice of you, but I don't expect it. Especially here on YouTube when we're talking about stats, we're talking about things in medicine, but I'm not your doctor. And maybe I am. Maybe, eventually some of my patients might come across some of my videos, which is going to be interesting too. But in this context anyways, Gianluca is fine. Doc is fine. I don't expect one way or the other. But love to hear more and keep this conversation going in the comment section below. And to my future wedding guests at some point, you're just invited to my wedding period. And we'll see you all in the next one. It's getting really, really hot in this car, so I'm gonna have to work out these discussion type videos, and maybe I'll just put the air conditioning on. But thanks for stopping by. New video probably this weekend. Everyone take care.